Hey everyone. So we're going to have an interesting discussion today. This came in as a question to me earlier, and it's a question that I've gotten quite often. So I think there's a lot of people that this will help. And that question is, what exactly is the Kutastha? And on top of that, we'll also answer the questions of what exactly is or are the nada sounds, the different sounds that are talked about in Kriya Yoga, as well as what is the taste and the smell of the Amrita, the feelings of bliss, all of that, because they're all kind of interrelated and they really are all one and the same. They are the same thing. So, to kind of start off, you know, what, how do you sense all of your senses, right? You're not actually sensing anything directly. It's always indirect. As I look at my screen right now, I'm not actually seeing that screen. My eyes are taking what it sees there and it's translating it into an electrical signal, which is traveling into the brain. The brain is decoding that electrical signal and presenting that on the screen of the mind. And this is how all of your senses make it to the brain and how you sense them all. They're all an electrical signal. So they all have this translation phase where they're first translated into energy and then translated from energy into what you view in your mind. You can kind of think of it like an MP3, right? Somebody goes into a recording studio and they record music, and that music is translated, encoded into an electrical signal. And that electrical signal can be played through your computer. It'll eventually come out, be translated again into sounds, and come out of the speakers. So the whole body, the whole nervous system, in the yogic terms, all the nadis and the chakras, they're one big giant electrical circuit, right? And scientifically, this is well known, um, that you know, all of the activity in your brain and in your nervous system and everything, it's all through electricity, right? Similar way that electricity transmits signals through a wire, it's transmitting those through your nervous system. In yoga, we have this um, uh, model of an energy body, which has nadis and chakras, which is at a layer that's more subtle than the physical body. So it's not something that you can actually see, touch, feel, whatever. And really, everything is all made of electricity and nothing more. It's all energy. E equals mc squared. Right there. It tells you everything is made out of electricity and nothing more. It's all just energy. And if you go and even read back to Lahiri Mahashai's writings in the Arya Mission Gita, it was written back in the late 1800s. He says, all things are prana, nothing more. So now that we've kind of had that little bit of a background, what are these inner sensations that are not quote unquote real that we can experience within deep meditation? Well, the answer should be kind of obvious at this point. It's prana, right? It's energy. So through your practices, you are ramping up the prana, the Kundalini Shakti, the prana, whatever you want to call it, ramping it up in such a way that it becomes really powerful signal, powerful enough that your mind, your brain can actually start picking up that electrical signal and picking up the frequency from it and starting to translate it into the different senses, right? So really what's kind of happening here is in a way it's almost like a hallucination, right? Because you're seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling something that isn't really there. It's just the frequency of the energy in your nervous system is reaching a point that your brain can actually receive it, understand it, and translate it into sensations. And this is how you get things like, every Kriya out there is familiar with, people talking about the different sounds from the different chakras. And there's also different colors for different chakras. So what do they mean by this, right? Well, if you take your attention and you place it right in the chakra, like right here in the heart chakra, and you really ramp up the prana there to the point where that electrical signal gets so strong, that's going to transmit, and you could potentially see the color blue. You could potentially hear the sound coming out of this. I don't remember what they say each of the sounds are. None of them sound exactly like what they say. The bee, the harp, whatever. They're tones that are of a similar pitch, but they don't really sound like those things. Um, Generally, it's like higher pitched, lower, and it gets deeper pitched as it goes up. Um, Anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent. But yeah, if you come into these different chakras and you ramp up the electricity specifically in that area of your nervous system, specifically in those chakras and nadis, if you want to use the yogic terms for it, it's going to create a vibration. That vibration is going to send a signal, a frequency through your central nervous system that is going to be translated to your brain. And you're going to see these colors, hear these sounds, taste, smell, feeling of bliss, all of that, will all come from that. It's all prana. They're all the same thing. The sounds that you hear, the sights that you see, the taste that you might get, the smells that you might get, the feelings that you might get within your practice internally are all the same thing. You're experiencing the same thing through the different sensations. So Kriya, like the Kutastha with, the golden ring and the blue background and the white star or white dot, however you see it, all of these things happen when you practice the specific practice in the right way, and it creates the right energy signal within your body that allows you to see these things, right? So that it does not mean that you're like seeing something, like you're seeing a different realm or anything like that. It's not necessarily true, because you may be seeing another realm, yes, but the other realms are not physical. So they don't really have a form the way that the physical world does. So yeah, all this stuff would be in the astral realm, technically, which is the realm of energy. So yeah, I hope that kind of helps to kind of demystify this stuff a little bit. You know, um, all of these things are great. They're nice experiences, but one thing to really keep in mind is that having these experiences in themselves is not self-realization. Self-realization is something that happens not so much during your meditation, but outside of your meditation. And that will kind of lead into what my next video will be about. So until then, I'll see you later.